Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica if you happen to be new here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. I am so excited to update you on one of my favorite projects to do. This is my Pan Those Eyeshadows project, which I have been doing as long as I've been doing YouTube. This is the first project that got me into making YouTube videos, so it'll always have a special place in my heart for that reason. However, I have missed an update, so it has now been 2 months since my last update for this video, but I still have some great updates to share with you, probably because it's been 2 months. And as many of you know, I am expecting a little girl very soon, so been very tired. Things have just been on the back burner. There's a lot going on in my brain, so I apologize for missing some updates. I really am doing my best, but I'm excited to just share with you how I've been doing on this project, and I do have some new pans to share with you, so that means we're going to be bringing in some new eyeshadow shades to work on today, so I'm very excited about that as well. So without any further ado, let's get started on this update. But if you are new here and you would like to stick around, please consider subscribing to my channel, and at any point, if you would like to give this video a quick thumbs up and leave a comment down below, I absolutely love hearing from you, and it really would help me out a lot. Thank you so much. Let's get started. First eyeshadow I have been working on is this one from ColourPop. This is from the Child palette from the Star Wars Mandalorian collab that they did, and I've been working on the shade in here called Precious Cargo. Right here is a swatch of Precious Cargo. It is very gold in the swatch. It has a slight green tint to it, and it's just been a beautiful shade. I've been wearing it all over the lid as well as the inner corner, and have had really a great time using it. Here's what Precious Cargo was looking like when I first brought it into the project in May. It had a little bit of use on it, but not too much. I reached for it just 4 times in the first month, and here's what it was looking like in that first update. And in the past month, or should I say the past 2 months, I've reached for it an additional 21 times, making for 25 uses total. And here's Precious Cargo today. And as you can see, we do now have a pan on Precious Cargo. I am very happy to report, and I am excited to roll this one out. This was such a beautiful shade to work with. I had absolutely no issue reaching for it. I also found it to be quite versatile with a lot of different color tones and looks, and just a really pretty shade in this palette. So happy to have a new pan on this one and a new pan to add to my pan percentage, and that now makes for 3 pans in this palette: Precious Cargo, Float Your Crib, and Droid Protocol down here. So this palette is looking very well loved, and I absolutely love this palette in my collection. It has such a unique color story, and I absolutely love little baby Grogu. He's just so adorable, and it remains one of my favorites in my collection. So that one is rolling out. First good news of the day. Precious Cargo was a randomly generated shade, but this year I'm also doing half of my shades generated using Lainey's prompts, so I kind of get to select my shade a little bit more using those prompts. So the next shade comes from this palette here. This is the Lorac Pro Palette Artist Edition in the Marikai colorway, and I chose this palette for the prompt eyeshadow that I want to pan, because I want to have a pan in every single one of my eyeshadow palettes, and this was the only eyeshadow palette in my collection yet to have a pan on it. I did randomly generate this shade, however, that I've been working on, and it is the shade in here called Rosé. There is Rosé in the swatch, and it was just the perfect shade to roll in. Even though it was randomly generated, it just knew exactly what I needed, because it's so easy to reach for, such a neutral color, and had no problem reaching for that one at all either. Here's what Rosé was looking like when I first brought it into the project in May. It didn't have any use on it at all to speak of. I reached for it 6 times during the first month, and here's what it was looking like after those 6 uses. And in the past 2 months, I reached for an additional 6 times, making for 12 uses total, and here is Rosé today. And with those 12 uses, we have hit pan. I suspected that these shades would be quite easy for me to pan. Knowing the Lorac formula, I know that they are quite soft and easy to pan, kind of similar to the ABH shimmers in their palettes, or Anastasia Beverly Hills. Of course, you know what that means. But yeah, really loved this shade. Super easy. I now have a pan on this palette. I'm sad to say I haven't reached into anything else in this palette, which is kind of a bummer when it comes to Pan Those Eyeshadows, as the rest of the palette gets neglected. But I'd love to reach into this maybe for a No Pan Left Behind challenge or something like that in the near future. Maybe that'll come into a deck of panning project. That would be nice, just so I can get to know this palette a little more. It seems beautiful. It's a gorgeous neutral palette. who wouldn't love it? You know, I think this is just perfect for every day, and I really do love the Lorac formula. So I'm happy that I got to use this palette that has a pan on it now, and that is our second rollout for this update. The next shade in the project was also randomly generated, and that comes from my Odin's Eye Jewels and Gem palette. And the shade that I randomly selected is called Seventh Heaven, and it's like this really grungy green color. There is Seventh Heaven in the swatch. It almost looks gray in the swatch, but it does have like an olivey green tone to it. Here's what Seventh Heaven was looking like when I first rolled it in May. I had maybe reached for it once or twice, but it definitely didn't show a lot of wear. I've reached for it 6 times since then, and here's what Seventh Heaven is looking like today. And I don't think you'll see much of a difference in this pan, maybe a slight disturbance in the surface of this shadow. And I'm a little disappointed I didn't reach for it more, especially in a 2-month span. But I think I should be able to amp up my usage on this one in the next month, especially now that we are getting into the fall, and I'll be more excited to reach for these deeper, more earthy tones. And I have worn this in my crease quite a few times in the times that I've used it, and it actually works really well throughout the crease. It has kind of a neutral payoff once you do buff it into the crease and top with a more neutral shade. I think it's really pretty, and I think I can see myself reaching for it a lot more now that I've kind of understood how I like to use it. Although I would like to use it in some green looks as well and really let it shine in that way. So that'll be fun to experiment with, and I'm hopeful to hit pan on that one this year. I only have like, let's see, September, October, November, 3 more months of this project. So if I can hit pan on this one before this project is up or before 30 uses, that would be great. If not, it might roll out without a pan, but ultimately it's always my goal to hit the pan. And if I use it at least 30 times over the course of at least 3 months, those are my 2 criteria I always try and meet. Most of the time I'm able to hit pan. So hopefully that's the story for this one. I have heard that these mattes are pretty powdery and easy to pan. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. I just have to use it more. Although with the fluffy brush, I don't know if that is really gonna happen, but we shall see, we shall see. I will update you on it next month. The next shade is another one that comes from one of Lainey's prompts, and the prompt was high-end shadow. So of course I had to pick for one of my high-end palettes, my Natasha Denona bronze palette, which I absolutely love. And I did hand select the shade in this case, and I chose to work on one of the shimmers in here called True Bronze. There is True Bronze in the swatch, and what I just love about this palette is how glittery and impactful those shimmers are. It is just such a gorgeous shade, and I've been having a really great time reaching for this. I've worn it a lot. Here's what this shade was looking like when I first brought it into the project. I had definitely reached for it quite a few times, but I don't think it had much of a pan to show. And in the past 2 months, I've reached for it 16 times, and here's what it's looking like today. And I think you will be able to see that there is a slight dip starting to form in the surface of that shade, but we are far from pan. I'm not really hopeful that I'm going to hit pan with this shade. It's just such an impactful eyeshadow that a little bit goes quite a long way, and I'm using just like a flat shader brush with it, which doesn't pick up a lot of product, and I don't need a lot of product, so that's fine. So this might be one of those shades that I use 30 times and then roll out. I was able to hit pan on Alloy right here, I think last year, so I'm not quite sure how many times it took me to hit pan on that shade. It would be helpful to know that. I'll maybe put it down here if I'm able to find it in my backlog of notebooks. But I'm enjoying this palette all the same. It's beautiful for the summer. It'll be beautiful for the fall as well. And this is actually the shade that I have liked to pair with that Seventh Heaven olive green shade. I put Seventh Heaven in the crease. I put True Bronze all over the lid, and it's actually a really pretty kind of fall-inspired eyeshadow look. If I have a picture of it, I will insert it here. Although I've been really bad about taking pictures of my eye makeup lately. Sorry. So that one is also staying in, but I'm really happy with those 16 uses. I think that's really good for me, and I'm excited to reach for it more. I think I should be able to hit at least 30 uses by the next update. And last but not least, I am also working on expanding pan in eyeshadows that I already have pan on during this project this year. And I was inspired to do this by Dora from Fuschia Soul here on YouTube. So I will always have her link down in the description box, and give credit where credit is due. For that expand your pan shade, I randomly generated a shade from my ABH Jackie Aina palette, and it's the matte purple tone in here called Bigwig. There is Bigwig in the swatch. You can kind of see it's a little bit patchy. It's not my favorite purple. It kind of pulls as a more like fuchsia magenta-y purple. And my goal for these shades is always just to use them 5 times. Here's what Big Wig was looking like when I brought it in May. It had a small little pan in there. My goal was to reach for it 5 times before rolling it out. I've used it exactly 5 times, hitting that 5 use goal, and here's what it's looking like today. And I don't think you'll see much of a difference with those 5 uses, but I at least know that I used it. It got a little bit of attention. I'm sorry to say the pan probably isn't any bigger. Maybe microscopically bigger if you look closely enough, but it did get those 5 uses. I could have gotten 10 uses since it was in here for 2 months. It didn't. We're rolling it out, and we'll bring in a new shade to expand today. I was able to take a couple pictures of my eyeshadow looks during this past month, so I'm going to go ahead and insert those here. This is a really pretty purple and green look I did. I'm pretty sure I have Big Wig in the crease in this look, and then I used the shade, I want to say I used the shade Seventh Heaven to create that wing, along with some deeper like green eyeliners and things like that. So it's there, but maybe not as obvious. Here's another look I did. This one involves Precious Cargo from the Child palette. That's what's mostly on the inner part of my lid. And then I have Seventh Heaven in the outer part of my crease there. I love this look. I love wearing green looks. I think they are so pretty and just so fun to do. Here's a really simple look I did. This has True Bronze all over the lid. It has Big Wig in the crease and some other shades as well. I think Big Wig is just really in the outer corner, like in that dark part of my outer corner. And then True Bronze is really the star of that show with that glitter that you can see. This is a very simple look I did. I did this one a lot. This has rosé on the inner part of the lid. And then I think Big Wig might also be in the crease very, very lightly. Here's a look I wore to school. Yes, I'm back in school. And I think this is an example of me wearing Seventh Heaven in the crease and True Bronze all over the lid. And then I probably also have Precious Cargo in this look on the inner corner and very inner part of the lid. Just for fun, let's throw this look in here. This is not including any Pando's eyeshadow shades, but it is a fun makeup look that I did to go see the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere. You know, everyone wears white when they go to this concert, which is so fun. The Backstreet Boys like mentioned or asked their fans to do it one day, and then it just kind of took off, and now everybody who goes to see them at the Sphere wears white with a touch of light blue. Very Millennium, you know. It's a celebration of their Millennium album from 25 years ago. Makes me feel old, but I felt very young on this night. I had such a good time, and you can see my little bump here too that I rocked at the Sphere. It's like I matched the Sphere truly with my bump, so was really having a good time there. So I just want to throw that in there for you. And here is, I think, the last look I have to share with you. I was actually at the Lip Lab, which is where you get to custom make your own lipstick. So I was trying on different lipsticks here, but you can see my eye look in these pictures. So this has True Bronze all over the lid, just a nice sparkly lid with a neutral crease. Nothing really too special there. I might even have Precious Cargo in this look as well. Those are all the makeup looks I took pictures of. I don't take pictures of my makeup every day, but when I'm feeling it or just like in the mood, or I feel like it's a fun look that I want to document, and it's fun to share them with all of you. So let me know if you enjoyed any of those looks or what your favorite was, or if you saw the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere, let me know. It was so much fun. It was like some of the best fun I've had in a long time, and I'm so glad I got to do that. Big hurrah before having this new baby come. And I actually saw a lot of pregnant ladies there because, you know, us millennials, this is our time. We all are waiting until our mid to late 30s to have children. So I was not the only pregnant lady there, and that felt good too. I also update my pan percentage in these videos, even though I'm including all the eyeshadow pans that I have hit in this video. This is just kind of where I like to report on it. In my makeup collection, I have 448 individual shades of eyeshadow. At the beginning of the year, I had pan in 85 of those 448 eyeshadow shades, and my pan percentage started off at 18.97% this year. My ultimate goal this year is to hit 25%, and I am so close, but I'm a little nervous it's just gonna be beyond my grasp, but we're really gonna try and push for that and try and hit 25% by December 1st. That is my goal. So as of last month, I had pan on 101 out of the 448 shades, and my pan percentage was up to 22.54%. And in the past 2 months, I have hit 4 additional pans, 2 in this project, and then 2 in my Pan That Palette project, which if you are not watching, I will go ahead and link right up here, and you can see the new pans in that video, which might not be posted yet, but you can at least link to my playlist and the pans will be coming very soon. You'll see them. I'm gonna film that video tomorrow. So I now have pan and 105 out of my 448 shades. So my new pan percentage is 23.44%. So we are very, very close to 25%. I am about 7 shades away from hitting that goal. I think I have just like 3 or 4 more pans to hit in my Pan That palette. So that means I need to hit those pans as well as 3 additional pans in this project if I'm going to hit that 25% goal, which would feel amazing. I think that's a very impressive pan percentage. I'm very satisfied with that, especially since I started this project with like less than 10% all those years ago when I first started panning eyeshadows, which is why I started doing this hobby, because I wanted to use the makeup that I already have instead of feeling always tempted to buy the newest and latest and greatest things and, you know, spend money that I don't need to spend. So feeling very satisfied about that, and that means that it is time for us to get to the most exciting part of this video. It's time to roll in some new eyeshadows. So let me grab my phone and my special little randomizer app, and we're gonna bring in a randomly generated shade, a shade we can select using one of Lainey's prompts, as well as a shade to expand. Let's do it. I'm so excited. Alright, so I have all of my palettes in this wheel here. I'm using the Tiny Decisions app, and I do have 5 of the palettes blocked out, and those are just the palettes that are either currently in this project or that I just rolled out of this project, just so that I can keep things different and fresh and we're not rolling in the same things over and over again. So let's see what shade is going to be randomly generated, see what the panning gods have in store. Let's go. ColourPop Frozen 2, the Elsa palette. I just unblacked that one because it was something that I had in recently. I rolled it out. It wants to come back in. Okay, you know what? It's randomly generated. All right, we have to go with what the painting gods want. So let me grab that palette for us real quick. And here she is. Does this palette scream fall? No. But do we love her? Yes, very much. Here's what this palette is looking like today. You can see we already have pan on 3 of these shades. We have pan on this one, if you can see a little baby pan there, and this one. I think I just recently hit pan on Northern Lights right here. So that means I have 6 shades eligible to be rolled in, although we're not gonna roll in this glitter. So let's just leave it at 5 shades eligible to be rolled in and see what the panning gods want for us today. Okay, so I put in the numbers 1 through 5 into the random number generator, and let's see. I'm a little nervous. I don't really want to work on a blue, but odds are not good. Okay, we got the number 5. That's actually, I think, one of the best case scenarios here. So of those eligible shades, we're gonna skip over Cuddle Close, which has a pan. Fire would be 1, Northern Lights is skipped over, Gale is skipped over, skipping over Flurry, 2, 3, 4, 5. Spindrift. It's a funny name for a dark, deep cranberry shade. Okay, this is actually best case scenario. I feel like this shade reads very fall. Those deep cranberries, definitely perfect for the season. I can use this as a liner. I can smoke it out. I can blend it out for a more subtle look. I think this is gonna be not too difficult for me to pan. And actually already has a nice little dent in there as well. Wow, it is very deep. Here's what Spindrift is looking like in the pan. You can see it has a nice disturbance started off already for me, so we are off to a great start. And I think this is actually quite a beautiful shade. There it is in the swatch. It is a beautiful like wine colored cranberry. You could enjoy it even more up close, and I think it'll pair really well with True Bronze. And I'm actually kind of excited about that. So the panning gods knew what they were doing, and even though I just worked on this palette, it's a very different shade that we're working on this time, and I absolutely love this palette. So happy to have her back. I just can't get away from ColourPop right now. So that one is our first one rolling in, and I'm excited. The next shade I'm going to pick myself using Lainey's prompts. So I have all of her prompts here on this wheel. A few of them are blacked out, and those are just prompts that I've already rolled this year because I have the setting on this app to not re-roll any prompts from previous rolls, if that makes sense. So let's see what our prompt is. Hopefully it's something fun. Okay, it says a shadow you want to pan. Didn't I already do that one? Okay, I guess that prompt is just in here more than once. Do I want to do a different one? I'm going to do a different one because I just got that prompt and I want a little bit more direction, okay? So we are re-rolling. Something you don't want to pan. I've already rolled that one too. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm not feeling these prompts, so blah. Oldest shadow. Okay, that one I can go with. I definitely have some older palettes in my collection that could use some attention. I don't know what the oldest shadow is necessarily, but we'll do some digging and think about what that oldest palette or oldest shadow will be. I will get back to you on that. But before we do, let's go back to that other wheel because it's time for me to generate a shade from a palette that already has a pan in it, or an eyeshadow that already has a pan in it. So I'm just gonna use my wheel here because every single one of my palettes has a pan in it, and randomly generate a shade from there. So we have all the eyeshadows that are already blacked out in here. I rolled the ColourPop Hello Kitty Pineapple Cake palette, which is just a little yellow quad from ColourPop. Another ColourPop shade to work on. So that one I think just has one pan in it. Let me see what it is. Here is that adorable little pocket-sized palette. I basically just bought this palette because I love Hello Kitty and I love the color yellow. And she's in a little bikini. How cute is that? And here is what the palette is looking like. And I was correct. I have just one shade in there that has a pan on it. So that will be the shade that I'm trying to expand pan on. So I'm going to try and reach for that shade at least 5 times. I think that should be easy to do. This is quite a neutral shade when you mix it with other neutrals. And I can really go for a yellow look, or I can just kind of hide it with other shades. So that's going to be easy. And it would be great if I could reach for some of these other shades as well. That's not ultimately my goal, but maybe it'll happen. And I'm sure that I will have a bigger pan to share with you by the next update. And there's the swatch of To The Core. It is a true lemon yellow. And it actually looks really pretty with this purple shade right next to it. I'm gonna go digging in my eyeshadow collection for some old eyeshadows. And I'll be right back and let you know what that final shade is gonna be. I am back and I decided for my oldest eyeshadow, I wanted to select something from my Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. I got this palette the year that it was released, which was 2018, so it's at least 7 years old. It still performs beautifully. I'm not grossed out by old eyeshadow. If you are, I apologize, but it's a gorgeous palette, and I think this might be my pan that palette for next year, so I kind of want to get a little kickstart on it and hit pan on one of these shades. It may not be the oldest, but it's an old palette for me. Here's what this palette is looking like today. I have 1, 2, 3 pans on it already, so that leaves 11 shades in here that are eligible to be rolled in. And because this is one of Lainey's prompts, I could definitely choose the shade I want to work on. You know what? I'm just gonna choose because I don't want to make life difficult for myself. And I kind of need an inner corner highlight right now. So I'm going between these two shades. I have Glistening here and Fairy here. Glistening is definitely more like rosy color, Fairy more yellow. They look very similar to these two shades just rolled out. I think I'm gonna go with Fairy. That's gonna be the shade that I hit pan on. I also think Fairy is going to be a very easy shade for me to hit pan on, which will help me get to my 25% goal. So that will be my 5th and final shade. And let me show you my color palette because I think it's really exciting. Here are my eyeshadow shades all together. I love this color palette. I think it's gorgeous. It's screaming Subculture palette to me from Anastasia Beverly Hills, which I never got that palette, but I always thought it was fun. And I just think this is really giving off that vibe right now. I'm really excited to create a look using all of these shades. I think that would be very exciting to do. And I just think that this color palette screams fall. So I am very happy. We've got 2 shimmers and 3 mattes. And while there are going to be some challenges in here, it's going to be fun to experiment with. And with that, it's time to wrap up this update. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun filming it. I always do. And I'm excited to work on these new eyeshadow shades. I thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sending my love out to you wherever you are in the world that this video finds you. And I hope you're doing well. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. But until then, please take care. Bye.